Well, good morning to you, everybody. Mark Sudduth, Hurricane Track here, Wilmington, North Carolina. That is my twin down there with similar haircuts today
Yeah.
in Southwest Florida. CJ Morgan. How are you, CJ?
Yes. Living the dream. Can't complain. Enjoying some warming finally.
You were
It's
complaining
not
earlier, but
freezing.
we'll
Yeah,
leave that out. You got to earn a paycheck. So anyway, well,
exactly.
it's good to see you, man. We got talking weather for January the 6th now. It is Tuesday. And got a pretty good lineup for you. We try to always do just that.
Hmm.
Severe weather potential definitely ramping up for Friday. We're going to touch upon that.
Yeah,
Any NFL fans out there, if you're headed up to the Bears-Packers game, that could be a little problematic. In fact, let's just share the screen and I'll show you the bullet points for today. We do have a big warm-up. It is underway. I wore shorts and t-shirt yesterday to get my hair cut, and I stuck with it throughout the day. Went out in the backyard, enjoyed some afternoon sunshine with Daphne. Beautiful 65 degrees, going to be almost 70 today. We'll talk about that. And there's some new hurricane info that I saw from Dr. Ryan Maui that I thought was really interesting. I'll show you guys that. And then, yeah, CJ, we got this significant severe weather threat and we need to talk about that. That's going to become more and more the focus over the next few
exactly.
days, yeah, as we head towards Friday. And then, yeah, NFL playoff stuff starting to kick in. And I saw a tweet from Mr. Berggren, and I thought we'll talk about it because news, sports, and weather are not just linear television segments. Like you
Right.
see WECT Wilmington, Smitty Jones with news and whoever. I'm not good at making up names off the cuff sometimes, but news, sports, and weather. We'll talk about the weather and the sports part with that Bears Packers game, and that's up there in Green Bay in Wisconsin. I guess
Exactly.
our weather Scott can help us with that. He's a good sports statistician. So let's start off, shall we? National high and low temperatures. Let me move this out of the way. Um, for yesterday, wow, CJ, we have three of them now sharing the title of high temperature. The usual La Porta, Hidalgo, and then McAllen, Texas decided to make it the three amigos of high temperature at 88. At least we're getting up there.
Yep. We'll just
Uh,
say the whole Rio Grande Valley of
yeah.
deep South Texas.
Right. I mean, it's seemingly so. And then our nobody lives there Estcourt Station, negative
Maine.
26. Yeah, and I was looking on the Google Maps today to figure out what I could show everybody because this segment's not just to show you this, but to teach you a little geography. So with that, we'll take a look at McAllen and a little bit of a trivia, whatever, just added info. Um, so there's McAllen, that's the outline municipal area. But then you see Hidalgo right down here and La Porta, they're all very close to each other. So as
Right.
CK was, yeah, hinting at, it's pretty much the whole area, and they have different reporting stations. And there you go. But here we are, McAllen, Texas, and let's grab the old Google Maps dude and just drop him on somewhere here in the middle and see what we get. Nice. Well done. So we have Rental World in beautiful McAllen, Texas, where it was 88 degrees yesterday. This was
Yep.
done June 2015. So this picture a little bit old, and then you jump ahead to April 2025. It always works that way. It's very weird.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Hey, we should go back and see what kind of cars people were driving 10
Right.
years ago. Anyway, farm to market. There's that FM,
Yep.
farm to market. Anybody that doesn't know what that means, that's not a radio station. Tune in to FM 2061. Nope, it is farm to market. But this is McAllen, Texas. I think I've been through here, near here. I don't know, it just rings a
Hmm.
bell. Then we go back in time 2 years. But anyway, this is where the high temperature was yesterday. A very lovely 88. What was it in your area? Do you remember, CJ? You
I
all in the
don't,
70s
but
again?
yeah, I'm gonna say the upper 70s.
And we've lost
Um,
your audio for some reason.
that better?
That is.
So I believe it was upper 70s. I know our highs set for the upper 70s again today. But I mean, it's January and we're kind of hampered by the Gulf.
Right.
Whereas these guys down there in South Texas,
It's
it's
all
all
land.
continental. Yeah, it's all land inland from the Gulf of Mexico. So
Yep.
once you get, a few miles inland, that it can heat up pretty quickly.
So there you go. That's the national high temperature. How about the low? Again, nowhere I can drop the Google Maps person, the street view on the US side. So let's keep taking a look at the beautiful areas in Canada. Um, and we'll just drop it right here near the US Customs and Border Protection checkpoint. And we have a great view of the woods.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
that's
I
kind of
lost.
what I
Try
expect for that
again.
part of the country.
I say we have a great view of the woods. There we go.
Yeah.
So this is on the Canadian side,
Right.
and negative 26, whether you're on the Canadian
Mm,
side or the American side, that's freaking cold.
yep.
I am
And there's
okay
your
with
border
not having
protection,
that. Right.
border post. And I
So
guess you can,
obviously this is during the warm months. This was
yep.
June of 2024 that this Google Street uh, person enjoyed a nice drive on the Canadian side. Yep, minus 26, so pretty darn cold. So there's your national highs
Yeah.
and lows for yesterday. Let's take a look at the chat, see who all we've got today. I see a few new names. That's
Oh,
awesome.
Mark.
Cricket and rugby, where I'm from, no NFL or baseball. Oh,
Mm-mm.
cricket. I heard Russell Crowe on Joe Rogan recently talking about cricket and how that is such a big pastime down in Australia, for example. Never
Mm-hmm.
seen it in person. Obviously never played it, but very interesting. Hello, Albert from Karen. That's awesome. Just like to see who's on here. A little bit of a roll call. Good to see you all. And for some reason, I lost my chat. I'll get it back. All right, so national map time. Uh, Mostly fog on there, CJ, that really stands out as
Yeah.
being more problematic of our weather features. Fog here in North Carolina, dense fog all along the northern Gulf Coast, some
Yep.
offshore fog of your area,
Yep.
uh,
Yeah. We've been having a lot of sea fog
sea
last
fog.
few days. And then, it's that time of year.
Yeah, the nights are still long and you cool the atmosphere down
Hmm.
enough, very moist. We had some fog going into school today. I was taking the Daphne to school. You can see it just in the tree line. So
Right.
cool, very wispy and kind of ethereal feeling. Very cool. These are winter weather advisories. At least the lake snows have turned off for now.
Yep.
Winter storm warnings here for the mountains of the Pacific Northwest, but generally speaking, a calm weather day, and it's going to stay that way until Friday, which we're going to get into. And then, really, with the exception of this storm that's going to be moving through the next few days, kind of a boring weather pattern as we move through towards mid-January, CJ. I mean, we have not
Yeah.
had a bona fide nor'easter in over a year.
Yeah.
I've not gone up to Massachusetts for anything like that, and there just hasn't been any.
Nope.
Um,
It's
Been
just
late
been very
this year, but
quiet.
yeah, pretty darn
I,
quiet. A year
yeah.
ago, roughly, maybe even exactly. I'll have to look at this when we get to our Throwback Thursday. So I already have something planned. But anyway, Scott and I, Weather Scott, I believe it was last year around this time that he and I were in Kansas for another blizzard. And we were
Yep.
also in the same area, Dodge City and vicinity in 2024.
Yeah.
Same period. This year, not even close.
Nope.
Um, and I remember as we were leaving that event, I was seeing people talking about this insane Santa Ana wind setting up a year
Yep.
ago, and everybody was really worried about the fire danger. And it crossed my mind. I was just thinking, Scott, you go ahead and go home. I'm going to fly to LA. I got a hunch about this. And I just wish I had followed that instinct because I would have been
Right.
on the ground in that hell scene that is literally coming up on a year.
Yeah.
So luckily for California, very wet, no fire
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Um, but unfortunately, CJ, the lack of snow on the agenda, on the list of different things to cover, I want to try to find one of these big snow removal companies, not a state DOT, but like a company, a
I
landscape
gotcha.
company,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
find out what are the economic impacts, and then somebody from like a ski resort in the east where we're hurting.
Hmm. Yeah.
this is not good.
No, it's not. It's been a very, very quiet winter so far outside of the immediate vicinity of the Great Lakes.
Right, right up here, you're doing fine, but wintergreen down through
Hmm.
Sugar and Beach, not even, I mean, we're cold enough at night, but that's going to start to go away
Yep.
to where you can't even make snow. Uh, anyway, so yeah, foggy more than anything else. That's the big headline today. So as we move through, I thought this was interesting. I'm a geography guy, geography, meteorology blended, and this is a company called the Greenwich Coffee.com is the coffee company, and this is from the Terrible Maps Twitter account. Someone should probably tell them. Close, but
Let us know when you figure it out.
right. I don't know. I guess it's close. It's relative, but close, but definitely no cigar.
At first I didn't realize it, then I took a closer look and was like, wait a minute.
Right. Everybody sees what's wrong, I hope, right? So that is not the prime meridian. I am sorry to tell you. Greenwich, England, it's just, first of all, it's over there. It just doesn't work. Not on a coffee cup, but
Nope.
good try. Very cute, very cute. Let's see what the comments are. Grok, tell them what? The prime meridian actually runs through Greenwich, the UK, not Turkey. This Turkish coffee shop seems to have relocated it to center on their homeland. Classic map mischief.
Hmm. I wonder if they have it going through their coffee shop. That would
Right,
be interesting.
right, right. So Turkey sitting right up in here.
So that makes sense. Hey, that might be some clever marketing.
Of course. I mean, and it made it on a Twitter account that has
Terrible maps.
1.7 million. That's how you do it. So that's what I need
Exactly.
to do. I need to make hurricane track t-shirts where all the latitude and longitude lines are off by about 6 degrees, and then that'll go viral of what the hell is this guy doing? And then there you go. There you
That's
go.
funny.
All right. So how about that? Well done. GreenwichCoffee.com dot turkey TR.
Yeah,
Okay, so 30th anniversary. I saw this popping up. This is, you just did your Superstorm thing, which, by the way, congratulations.
thank you.
It'll be over
Yeah.
100,000 views before you know it over on the
Ugh.
YouTube. CJ
Mark,
put
I've
together
had
these
quite a few.
documentaries that are terrific.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But I've had quite a few commenters, especially from New York and coastal parts of the Mid-Atlantic, about this specific storm.
96.
So, yeah, the blizzard of 96, very well known, especially east of the Appalachian Mountains along the
Hmm.
eastern seaboard. Um, I was still in my mama's belly, so I was there in spirit, but not physically
Right,
yet.
right.
But it's hard to believe 30 years ago, the blizzard of 96.
30 inches in
Um,
Philly, no school for two
mm-hmm.
weeks.
Yep.
Could not work from home on my check notes dial-up connection.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could you imagine working from home on a dial-up? Oh,
Oh, I tried. 1996, I was 1 year out of college trying to figure all this stuff out.
right.
And, I don't even know what the heck I had. I think we had Roadrunner or something from
Oh,
Time Warner
wow.
Cable,
Talk about a
whatever. But
throwback.
so let's click on this sucker and check out the archive. A storm like no
Mhm.
other. Really, really love all this historical stuff. Our good friend Jen Naramore putting together the tornado talk and the virtual memorial. That is important. These kinds of things are important. I showed yesterday the top 10
Mhm.
weather events that my friend Tim Armstrong put together. Remembering the weather and how it impacted so many people is very, very important. Now, one thing that it does, it helps to create and give us our current meteorology heroes. Ben Knoll, this high impact Northeast snowstorm sparked my interest in weather and marks some of my first memories. For me, it was hurricanes
Right.
Diana and Gloria. But anybody that lived up in the Northeast, you got bigger snows usually than we did down in the Southeast, obviously. So Ben says, I recall running to the window and seeing the snow pile up at an extreme rate in the Hudson Valley. God, I mean, you could just, yeah, that's awesome. And now
Yeah,
look
it's definitely, oh,
who has been become today because of that. So do you
right.
think, um, as you grew up, you were from Pennsylvania, what
Mhm.
kind of storm, like, do you have
Oh,
anything?
easily.
What's
There's
your
one that
analog?
sticks out. So, Snowmageddon 2010,
Oh
easily.
yeah.
So it's Pittsburgh's third highest snowfall total on record. That was the two back-to-back February storms, the winter of 9 and a 10.
Okay.
I was in eighth grade. I was in junior high, and we went to bed. That was February 5th. It was the first of the two storms. They said we were going to get 4 to 6 inches. We woke up the next morning to 22 and a half.
Whoops.
Yeah. So it was the what happened is you got one of those Miller B's that cuts across the mid-Atlantic and then out, and
Yeah.
it came further north.
Yeah.
So, that's all it takes is those couple of miles in track on these
Hmm.
systems. Like with the blizzard in 93, that was Pittsburgh's highest snowfall total ever,
Right.
3 feet in places. But over in Philadelphia, they only got 11 or 12 inches of snow.
Yeah, those
So,
epic
yeah,
snowstorms, they seem to
it,
be
it's
harder and harder to come by.
it is. It's crazy. There hasn't really been a blockbuster storm like that, it feels, in a
In a
long time.
while. We're due. We're
We are
due.
due.
So this is from Ben Knoll, which we're gonna transition quickly over from
Ugh.
blizzards to the big warm up, which is on here as our first bullet point. And yeah, January is about to feel like April. Hundreds of high temperature records across parts of 35 states and the District of Columbia are forecast to be neared, tied, or broken through the weekend. Some overnight low temperature records are also forecast to be broken. That is remarkable. Very warm period that
Hmm.
we're in. It's going to get warmer. This is the 850 millibar anomalies. So if you went up to about 5,000 feet and took your temperature in a standard atmosphere, all of that redness there is above normal, above the long-term average. And
Yeah.
this is where we are right now. And let's just move this out. Look at that. Pretty much the entire lower 48, except for California, um, is going to be above normal for a while. But then it tries to change a little bit as chunks of colder. But then there's that, again, that's so weird to see these positive anomalies coming out of Canada. You
Right.
know,
It's just
you'd
so
expect to see the
strange.
Barney. Right. So yeah, very warm period ahead, and I love it. I'm here for it because we know we're only in the first part of January. Stuff will eventually flip, and
Yep.
we'll address that more when we get to the long range outlook as part of our rumors of storms segment. All right, so this is interesting here from Dr. Ryan Maui. This is our new hurricane info part. First of all, that looks like a generative AI graphic, does it not?
It does.
But there's no way generative AI gets it this good. You can just
No,
tell. So I don't know who made this. I kind
I
of
think it
like
looks
the look.
great.
It reminds me of sort of a, yeah, it is neat, but it
It
just,
reminds you of like a newspaper.
yeah, like USA Today used to have.
Yeah. Yeah. That does. It looks like you take it right out of a front page of a newspaper or something.
And I'm just
Very
looking
neat.
down at the bottom, NG Maps visualization, something research. Anyway,
Hmm.
uh, oogling over the map, let's look at the headline. Fascinating research study. African easterly waves were suppressed in high resolution models, and the Atlantic hurricane frequency and landfalls increased. The ITCZ moved north and actually created more tropical cyclone seedlings. So, looking at the
Interesting.
infographic, the Hydra effect.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, I thought Hydra was part of some Marvel something. Anyway, how
Right.
suppressing African waves paradoxically spawns more storms westward. Now, before we get into this, just a little bit, I should have a trumpet in here, a little bit of horn tooting of my own. And this is all in the archives. If people don't believe me, when you brag or whatever, I have said for years, and look, this is not hard to figure out, but I have said in my updates for years, when people look at the Atlantic and oh, the main development region is unfavorable, it's too stable, blah, 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 we're going to be good this year. It's like, okay, well, I see where you're coming from, but that means that stuff's going to develop farther to the west. I
Right.
hate that, and become more trouble, more problematic. I
Yep.
didn't know that it led to potentially more, I will admit that, but that's been sort of a key that I keep trying to put out there to people when they say it's not that favorable out there, the stability issues. I mean, you just look at 2005.
Hmm.
None of those big hurricanes, Katrina, Rita, Wilma, or Dennis, or Emily, really, especially Katrina, Dennis, Rita, Wilma, none of those were powerful hurricanes all through the MDR. And
Correct.
I think most of them didn't really get going until about 70, 75 degrees west longitude.
Most of them didn't really get going until they entered, like you said, the Caribbean basin.
Harvey,
Um,
another great
yeah,
example, sputtered along through the MDR. So that is definitely something we have honed in on at Hurricane Track for a long time. And now it's good to see that there is actually some serious research being done as to the why. We know what happens, but why does it happen? So this is based on research. Blocking traditional hurricane seeds leads to compensatory cyclogenesis. And there it is right there, closer
to
to
the
the
Americas.
Americas. That's what I've been saying. Like, yes. So good to finally see that I wasn't just, because people will they'll accuse you of hyping and oh, you just need the views and the whatever. When you say it's a dead MDR, but we still have to watch for stuff to the west. Well, there you go. Vindication served hot. Panel two, a suppressed state and compensatory genesis of the Hydra effect, the westward shift compensation mechanism, the environment remains primed with heat and instability. Without organized waves, the atmosphere manufactures its own storms through the alternative processes further to the west.
Right.
Fascinating. Absolutely incredible. So you might
Hmm.
shut down Africa, you might have a more stable MDR, but if the Caribbean and the Gulf are primed, which we know right now they are, still above normal in those areas. And INSO, a El Nino, warm El Nino, has no effect on the Gulf of
No,
Mexico. We've talked about that over the eons as well. So very cool stuff. Appreciate Dr. Maui tweeting this out. And there's all kinds of other stuff. I think he's generating these on Gemini or something. These have got to be, that just looks freaking awesome. So either he is really good at prompting or I don't know. I mean, that is a phenomenal graphic, you got to admit.
hmm
Anyway,
that's so cool.
yes, it is. Oh, another one. Man, I just didn't. He's got a kangaroo. What the hell?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. But really, really neat stuff. That so Gemini 3 explains interesting intuition gap by preventing ITC breakdown. Uh, Really fascinating. I'll put a link to this tweet here from Dr. Maui in the description of today's video for people to watch this later, and you can read
Right.
up on it. But fascinating, especially CJ, since we're going to be coming into more than
Yep.
likely a warm INSO event, and there's going to be a lot of talk of a down hurricane season. Well,
But
I don't have
remember,
a
it only
crystal
takes
ball any
one.
more than you do. We'll see about that. All right. So, another bullet point. Bears Packers. So first of all, CJ, are you a football fan at all?
Of course, born and raised in Pittsburgh, so my heart
Loaded
is
question.
always with my black and gold.
There you go. Um, I care a little bit, and we got the Carolina Panthers. Okay, super.
Right.
Um, I'm not like really into it. My father was Green Bay Packers for a
My
long
grandfather
time,
was.
and he actually trying to remember. He had something from Brett Favre, and I know that my parents both went to Alabama. Of course, now we're talking college, and the Great
Right.
Bear Bryant. Anyway, it's not about me. It's about the game coming up this weekend. So I saw this post here. Um, I'm trying to remember why is this out of place here because I wanted to go to this. Why is this here? Why is this tab here? What did I do? I'll kill it because I don't remember. That's fine. So let's go to this one from Noah Berggren. Crazy big shift, he said. This is from yesterday in the GFS for Friday storm in the Midwest with major implications for the Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers game. New 18Z run, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds with accumulating slow and
Ooh.
plummeting temps. The 12Z run from yesterday was breezy but dry and fair. And then all
Mm-mm.
sorts of GFS sucks, get rid of it, good for bleep, blah, 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 blah. All of these people that seem to know more than Noah Berggren. So I wanted to look into this, and this does not qualify for the old rumors of storms because this is not way out in the long range. This is just a few days away. So
Right.
let's see. Let's see if the GFS is good for bleep. So this is the Euro, and Weather Scott, we'll ask you. You'll be our Google for today. When is the Bears Packers game, Mr. Scott? If you're tuning in, we will give Scott a moment to the buffering. I know I could Google it or whatever, but I'm imagining that it's going to be Saturday afternoon, CJ, early evening, probably.
I believe it's Friday. I think they're the Friday night game for
I
some
think they're
reason.
Saturday because that's what Noah is saying. Uh, Saturday evening.
Maybe.
So I think it's a Saturday game, but we'll give Weather Scott. But anyway, so the Euro from last night's 0Z run at 21Z Saturday, there's Wisconsin, and there's a lot of isobars in there and some snow. I think the GFS, I know I had that tab open now, and that's the other one.
Nah, it's fine.
Yes, it's
Um, yeah, Saturday
GFS
at
may be
7.
onto something. What?
Saturday at 7 per Scott.
All right. So there's 0Z Saturday, which is perfect. That's about 6 p.m. Central Time here. I'm
Hmm.
assuming that, yeah, they make it Central Time. I don't
No,
know
I
what.
think it's 7 Central, not 7 Eastern.
So seven,
So
well,
8 o'clock Eastern. Yeah,
either way, this is pretty valid at 0Z. And
exactly.
there's Wisconsin in here. Strong
Hmm.
northeast winds. Look at those isobars packed in there. Snow steady. So, yeah, I'd say the GFS did a pretty good job with us. Let's switch over to the GFS.
Oh,
6Z,
excuse me.
very similar. And we go back to the 18Z yesterday. And that's the one that
Hmm.
Noah was really referencing. Held
Yep.
on decently through the 0Z last night, the 6Z this morning. Euro is in agreement. Still have a few days away, but yeah, that Bears Packers game could be, yee, that'll be interesting. So we'll see any follow up tweets from Mr. Berggren, and we'll talk about it again tomorrow. So if you're heading up to that game or you're going to watch it, it could be quite interesting. I don't know. Did you ever go to any of the Pittsburgh games, the Steelers games, and sit in frigid weather?
Oh yeah, the last game I went to at Heinz Field, which whatever it's called now, it's Heinz Field. Um, any
Exactly.
of my Steelers
Same thing
fans
with
that are
Twitter. But
watching will
anyway,
know. So the last game I went to at Heinz Field, it was 10 degrees and we had a win. It was against the Cincinnati Bengals. It was right around Christmas. Um, I actually wore my terrible towel as a face mask because it was
right.
so frigid. I want to say the wind chill that day was down near 0. So yeah, I've definitely I've also done the opposite. I've gone to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game in August.
Ooh,
So
wow.
yeah. I've done both and I don't know. I don't know which I'd prefer. I don't know. It doesn't feel like football
Right,
without snow. I can't I
right.
hate winter, but man, there's something about cold football.
Well, it looks like it's going to be rather snowy and windy, but there's still about 100 and some change hours for that to
Yeah.
change. So we'll tune back in and check that out for tomorrow. I'm gonna just look at the YouTube chat and see what folks are saying about it. Saturday at 7 is the stadium open air again?
Yes.
Um, yes, yep. So have fun with that. All right. Moving on along to, let's back up a little bit, SPC here, because
Yeah,
we
we've
do
got
have the significant severe weather threat coming up, and this is day 4. But before we get to day 4, I don't want to
yeah, you want to go
ignore.
to day 2.
Mhm. We have even day 1, which is today. We're good. We already talked about that a little bit. Pretty boring today, but
Yeah.
tomorrow, what are we looking at, CJ?
So tomorrow we've actually got for the next couple of days, we have a marginal risk of severe weather. So this is going to be centered right on that I-44 corridor. It looks like sometime after dark tomorrow night, we could see
Lovely.
some convection. They're talking in the discussion about a lot of these being elevated,
Hmm.
but the buoyant weak lapse rates, etc. But given the expectation for strongly forced convection Wednesday night within that favorable shear from this trough ejecting,
Hmm.
um, they can't roll it out. I mean, um, biggest problem is going to be damaging wind gusts and hail.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
potentially some hail, and then they do need, because of the low level shear. And then what is
Hmm.
SRH, by the way?
Storm relative helicity.
Thank you, sir. The potential for near surface based development will continue to be monitored regarding any tornado threat because
Yeah.
this is one thing I finally learned from you and Greg. The closer that that base can get to the surface, it just
Hmm.
makes sense. The easier it is to tighten everything up and get a tornado. When they are
And one of
higher
the
based,
things,
it's harder.
yep. And one of the things as a forecaster, what you're looking at, and a key that we've started to unlock later in, more recently is that 0 to 1 kilometer storm
Yeah,
relative helicity. That's basically the vorticity nearest to the ground and the air's propensity to spin is,
right.
to give it a simple that and the 0 to 1 kilometer shear. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, especially
Could
along
see
that
a slight
I-44
introduced.
corridor.
Right.
Yeah, you could. My concern is more going to be days 2 and 3, or
Right.
day 3 and 4, um, where, I've been looking at the modeling today. The people are talking about how the modeling is kind of slacked off a little bit, but some of the stuff I'm seeing still shows a pretty robust trough with a nice jet streak. And
Sure.
that's what you're seeing in this day 3 outlook, where they're talking about, a lot of these issues. At first, it'll be more likely Thursday morning, it'll be elevated convection
Yep.
across parts of Oklahoma and Kansas into the Ozarks. But throughout the day, the strength of the forcing in that deep layer flow and shear, we could see some issues with, a QLCS
Yeah.
kind of setup. And then, you could even see a large and strongly sheared warm sector extending from the Gulf Coast into the lower mid Mississippi Valley and lower Ohio Valley. So you're going to have a larger, a larger issue there if you can get everything to align correctly. But they're talking about a tornado could evolve later in the period. I mean, there's not enough model consistency yet, which is
Sure.
very typical with the
Right.
thermodynamics this time of year. I think we'll see more certainty by tomorrow,
Right.
especially once you get the cams
Yep. The
within
convectively
range.
allowing models, the HER, and so forth. But one part is the Gulf is very warm relative to
Very,
average down here.
very.
And we do have this strong high sitting out over here, that return
Hmm.
flow helping to bring in the moisture. And then that's your southerly wind. Then I guess you probably have some kind of winds this way over the top, whatever. I'm just thinking
Hmm.
out loud. What would that look like? And we're starting to see some ingredients come together. But it's really this day 4 that already at
Yeah.
15%. This is Friday we're talking about, and this is the one that we're going to really focus on more and more so that when we get to Friday and Friday is talking weather, we're going to spend a lot of time on this, probably a good 20,
Hmm.
30% of the show, because this could be
Yeah.
problematic, especially as it gets towards nightfall, nocturnal
Hmm.
tornadoes. So this is going to be a really important thing to keep watch of. Any notable changes, though, CJ, in the discussion from yesterday that you detected?
Uh, you know, Looking through it today, the biggest thing that I've noticed is that, you know, I'm sorry, I'm looking through here one more time. Where was it? Um, is that they've pretty much um just extended the warm sector, like the 15%. They extended it further
Right.
north, whereas yesterday it was a little bit more confined to the Arklamis.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's including
Good.
that western part of,
Arclamiss. That's funny.
yeah, western part of Tennessee, West Tennessee,
Yep.
extreme like the Boot Heel of Missouri, that
Yep.
area,
Yep.
which looking back climatologically, and you can actually look at the Storm Prediction Center homepage. They have these great graphics that show basically today's date
Ah,
and you know where the theoretical, the most likely area of severe weather will be,
right
um
there.
and it's right in that region.
Yep.
So it's this time of year. It's centered on this part of the country. We know that Dixie Alley can produce these types of outbreaks any time of year. And with this, this strong trough, I mean,
Yeah.
it, like I said, the models are going kind of back and forth here on this, on how strong it's going to be, whatever. The bottom line here for anybody in this region is just be weather aware the next few days, because,
Yep.
you want to make sure that you're taking these things seriously, that you have a plan, and, you're ready
We're
to
so
put
busy.
that
We're so
plan into
busy. Don't let it
place.
get past you, especially
Yes.
that we could see some nocturnal severe weather issues. But we'll address this
Mhm.
pretty thoroughly on Friday for sure. Certainly
Yeah.
tomorrow and Thursday, especially once these get into the day 3 and 2 range, etc. But
Yeah.
yeah, this will be a big topic for us coming up on Friday. All right.
Absolutely.
So the rumors of storms, just not a lot out there. Let's switch this back up to, I want to show the Euro and I want to show the 0Z, please. There we are. So the first few days here out to a week, not much. But again, let's just real quickly look at just the regular surface map here. There we are Friday evening, and there's those storms showing up in a global
Mm,
model. This is not your high resolution anything.
no.
Um, and you're clearly seeing some convective activity, very telltale signs. And if you look at this from the upper levels, even at the 500 millibar, pretty strong southwesterly flow. And then down at
Mhm.
the surface, let's just look at 5,000 feet. Um, it's more southerly, so you have southwest to southerly, just enough veering.
Mhm.
Yeah, this will be something to definitely watch as we go forward. But what about beyond the 1 week time frame, which puts us about right there? And by the way, I keep harping on this, but around the 12th and 13th, I mean, we'll do a show. Obviously, there's always something to talk about, but that is a blank bleeping weather map. I mean,
Yeah, it's
dude,
just
wow.
for the continental United States. I mean, the lower 48. I
Look
I,
at
I
that.
can't
Just
remember how,
hardly anything at all
yeah,
around that time frame, almost completely precip free. Like, wow.
yeah,
Enjoy it because you know it's going to flip at some point, and we're going to be
hmm,
like, it's like in the ER. You never say the Q word. It's very
right.
they'll punch you in the mouth before you say it. But yes, it looks like a very calm period for several, I don't know, several days, 2 or 3 days. Yeah, probably 2 or 3 days, and no big signal for a big storm. Now that's a pretty big cold outbreak coming right there. But
Hmm.
CJ, look at that. It's just a boundary, but
Yeah.
there's no surface low. Like, what the heck? There's no cyclogenesis. Like, have we forgotten how to create cyclones in the northern hemisphere or the lower 48 or what? Like, what is happening? Let's look at the upper levels. That is, look at that trough, dude.
And that's not that's a pretty broad, strong trough.
But
You would
what you
think there
don't
would be
see,
some kind of severe weather associated with it, but
there's no
uh,
good southern branch coming in of any energy to mix and phase and give us a Miller A or even a
mm,
Miller B. Just not seeing it. But
such a
temperature
weird
wise,
pattern.
let's get to the anomalies, thermodynamics. There we go. This does show in the longer term,
Right.
we do get back to a colder pattern as we get towards the last third of January, but still nothing to sort of trip the algorithm where all you're seeing on your For You, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, is mega storm, 50 inches of snow for DC, the crazy thumbnails, nothing. We're just sitting out here like, however, that being said, we know that it'll flip, and we know that Friday we're probably going to be looking at a significant severe weather threat, and we will focus on that more as we go
Right.
forward. So, coming up tomorrow, you are going to be joining up with our friend Jen, if I'm not mistaken. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
we're going to be talking Southwest Florida tornado history
Yeah.
live from your area. So, you two will be in the
Mhm.
same proximity.
Same proximity, exactly. So we're going to talk about, like you said, some, tornado history here and around the area, um, as well as, some hurricane history as well. I know we wanted to touch on that as well.
Yep.
because this area is not lack of hurricane history. That is for
Right.
certain.
And certainly Milton spawned a bunch of tornadoes, especially on the east side. But
Hmm.
even over in your neck of the woods, there was that one. I remember Matt and I where we were looking for it from one of those bridges as we were getting ready to set up the camera
Yep.
there at Punta Gorda. So that'll be tomorrow. We'll check in with Jen. We will continue to address the severe weather threat as it gets closer in time. And
Yep.
so we'll be about 48 hours out, a little bit more than 48 hours out. The cams will start to become more relevant Thursday, I guess, right?
Yeah, especially for the Friday setup. Right
Right.
now, like I said, there's definitely some fail modes that are out there. This trough's going to be positively tilted, not negatively
Right.
tilted. So,
Right. Oh, yeah, this isn't a signature
yeah,
for a big, but severe
no,
weather is severe weather. And if it affects you,
exactly.
that's what matters. And we just want to make sure, I don't know, you never know. It might just touch upon the exact right person that told somebody, and they were able to save
Exactly.
their life or their property or whatever. It's just being aware because everything that goes on this right here with the daily
Hmm.
news and your lives and kids and just everything, it's easy to forget about the weather and
Yes,
it
it
can
is.
sneak up on you and bite you in the rear end. And we want to try to mitigate that. Well,
Yep,
CJ, thanks for hanging out with me today, and thanks
absolutely.
for
Thanks,
everybody on the
guys.
YouTube. We appreciate it. I think we're done. That's
Yeah,
about
I
it.
think that's
I'll
it.
drop the video first, and then we'll do the sign off, and I will say my goodbyes. This is Mark Sudduth. That was CJ Morgan. He still is, but you get the idea. And this has been Talking Weather. We will do it all again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you.